What's up, guys? I'm just kind of waiting for people to come in. But yeah, it's been a pretty good few weeks of picking up books. This comic book haul is 17 books, and we'll go over the details in a minute. 17 books entirely from Half Price Books. And picked up the book of the haul in this one, which I'm saving for last. The best for last is one that just an incredible find. So again, priceless. Hey, Naman Hyung, thanks for hopping on. We'll get started, I guess. I don't anticipate too many people coming in, but like I said, this haul is entirely from Half Price Books. We picked up 17 books, paid about $26.12. The value on the books, or the value we get per book. So I did do the calculations. We paid roughly, let me do the calculation here just so you have the price per book I paid versus the value. So we paid $26.12 divided by 17 books, about $1.53 per book. But the value per book we got on this haul was, again, $44.64. I forgot to ask you how Half Price Books in Oklahoma was. I'm sure you found some good stuff. No, I do realize, like, some of the Half Price Books that price their comics, they're pricing them higher than what they go for at the comic shops. So yeah, so I mean, that's not a very good deal. I'm very happy. Oh, so I have an update on my local Half Price Books. Turns out they've got a lot of books back in their inventory. So luckily, they don't put books out until there's space. But luckily, I have a pretty good relationship with them, and from time to time, they'll pull out a short box, and I can have free dibs. The problem with doing that is because they haven't priced them yet. If you pull out anything you want, they bring their comic guy over, and he just prices everything. So it's good and it's bad, because I feel like because he knows these are going to sell, he tends to he tends to give them a book value. Whereas if he doesn't know if they're going to sell or not, he might be apt to give it a lower price. So he kind of priced things high, and out of the stack I pulled out, I only ended up buying one, which is in here. We'll go over what that book is. But yeah, there was some, there were some good Silver Age books in there that he priced. I mean, they're still, I guess, priced relatively, they're relatively cheap. Those Silver Age books, he priced them fairly. It's just, the Kirby Stanley Fantastic Four book that he had, the Silver Age book there that he had, was more than I wanted to pay, more than I had. So I just couldn't pick it up. I don't mind. Go ahead and do that, Naman. All right. So again, 17 books, $26. We got a lot of value out of this haul, and we'll just go over it. I guess we'll start with a book that I've been meaning to kind of read and pick up, and it just came across my way. So it's the Good Asian. This is the winner, or one of the finalists for the Will Eisner Award for this year. Either 2020 or 2021. Sorry, 2021 or 2022. But this is, I'm gonna murder his name, and it's a Thai writer, but he wrote this amazing story about sort of a noir detective who's Asian, solving like murders in Chinatown. And again, I've been just gonna eventually kind of sit down when I have time and read the story. It'll probably prompt me to get more issues, but don't mind doing that. In fact, if I wanted to, I could go and get them from Hasprice's books. I think they have the first 5 or 6 issues of this. What I paid for this was $1. They had this priced as $1, so pretty good deal on that one, considering it books at 25. And I don't know, for an Asian American collector like me to see books like this get recognition, and of course, this came out during a time when, I mean, they're still going on. You still see attacks being made on Asian Americans in this country, and there's a lot of anti-Asian sentiment right now. So when a book like this comes out, it especially, we're all recovering from the pandemic, and these attacks on our community just are unacceptable, and we need to promote. We'll just promote these people from, doing these things to our community. We just need to stand against that kind of anti-Asian sentiment and hate. So for me, it's a memorable book just because it came out around that time. Again, with all these negative things going on, it's nice to see one positive thing in the comic book community, celebrating a great Asian creator and with an Asian hero as its protagonist. This next one we picked up for 25 cents, and I was able to there were 2 stickers on here. One of the stickers was right here, and then they put a black marker line through it. Someone also drew a 5 and circled a 5 there. I'm not sure what they were thinking, but they drew a 5, circled it, and then there was the Half Price Books 25 cent sticker up here. So with the spine ticks and all the issues on this book, with the writing and the sticker pulls, and it's definitely a kind of a beat. I mean, it's not beat up, but it's a modern book. But it's been through the ringer for the, I guess, as much as you could put a modern book through some abuse, it's been through that. But it's still above mid grade, I would say. It's around mid grade, I would say. And but we love this cover. So what's interesting about this cover is most of you will recognize it as Alex Ross art, but this is actually John Romita Senior art, just done with the inking and the coloring by Alex Ross. So yeah, very cool book. Just an amazing cover. The Green Goblin there and the Spider-Man. So again, John Romita art, done in the style of Alex Ross, and it looks really incredible. Like, you wouldn't think it was Romita art at all. But that, it just goes to show, like, I think I showed Jim Lee and an Alex Ross collaboration where Alex Ross did the finish, and it just didn't look like Jim Lee at all. I mean, you could see the essence of the art that was Jim Lee, but in terms of the presentation, again, it was completely, it just pops with that realism there, with the painting. Just incredible. Hey, Kenneth, what's up? And Silver Knight Kyle, what's up, dude? Great to see both of you on. Thanks for joining. All right, so we've gone over 2 books. This next book, I just picked it up because what's interesting about my pickups, I haven't really shown like front and back covers, like the wraparounds. There are a lot of wraparound covers in your books, and I haven't really, featured that featured much of that as of late. But I figured, in this haul, it was just weird to find there were like several copies of, again, a wraparound. So I just thought I'd feature that. But this is one of the wraparounds in this haul. Picked it up for half a cover, so $1.50. This is just a key issue. Again, the Rebirth, DC Rebirth #1. And this is covered by Gary Frank. I just like how, again, you got members of the Justice League there and members of the Justice League on the back as well. Or members of the DC Universe, I should say. Got Shazam, a female Green Lantern, all kinds of goodness right there. So just a cool comic. Again, picked it up for $1.50. It's not worth that much. It's probably $5 or so. All right, so I did not pick up. I picked up again 2 copies of this on a recent haul. I also had #2, so I figured, you know what? Half Price Books had 3 and 4 there as well, 50 cents a pop. So for 50 cents, I was able to finish out this, Batman Year 3 run, which is a 4-issue arc. Picked up newsstand copies. So again, this is a late 80s book. Newsstands were getting, a little bit less frequent. And these ones are both in really solid high grades. So I'm sure these are worth probably twice, I would imagine, up to twice as much as what the direct editions go for. But yeah, nice to finish it off. I have newsstands in almost all of them except for this one, Part 2, that has a direct 50th DC anniversary UPC stamp. So again, 50 cents on both of these great George Perez covers. I'm going to show off the covers again. 50 cents there. 50 cents there. Got Nightwing there. And yeah. That's too bad, young. They do that at mine as well. Not on all the Bronze Age, but most. If it's Bronze Age or earlier, they'll put it in the sort of the higher priced bins. But I can still find them for maybe $1, $2 on some of them. Most of sort of the non-keys are like 10 or under. So, but I feel you. Yeah, they definitely price out the older stuff. This was an interesting find. Now, it's an Eric Larson cover. And what's interesting about this one is I got this one for, I think I got it. Let me just check the price here. What did I get it for? Where is it? Oh yeah, I got it for 25 cents. I got it for a quarter. I had a sticker on here. So I couldn't believe I got this for a quarter. This is Walking Dead #1. It's the Emerald City Comic Con reprint. So this comic book, I think Walking Dead was launched in like 2008 or so. This was from the 2014 comic convention. Just again, a reprinting of Walking Dead #1. And what's interesting about this is that it's a cover by Eric Larson. Yeah, 2010. All right, thanks for the correction. So yeah, just 4 years later, they reprinted this. Just a beautiful copy. Yeah, I'm local to Seattle, so you see a lot of Emerald City Comic Con stuff, and so again, coming across a key book like this, Walking Dead #1, it's just really nice. And it's an Eric Larson cover. He's an artist that we love. He's an artist we love. All right, so we're gonna get into. We're starting to get into the bigger books now. I don't know where to. Yeah, I guess I'll show this off just a little later. So this is the next book. This one we picked up for $1.25. It's a cover price of $2.50. Picked it up for half cover. But it's a newsstand edition. So this is when was this printed? This was printed in 1991. So again, a 90s newsstand edition. These are a little bit more rarer than the standard direct edition. And I got to tell you, this I didn't realize this was a key, but it's a Mark Bagley art cover and interior. And it's the first team up between Moon Knight and Ghost Rider. So I just thought it was a cool book. Again, it's in really tip-top shape in terms of the grade. The spine is just so clean right there. Corners are sharp. And to get a 90s newsstand that's so high grade, I mean, this is something we made because CGC is now acknowledging the newsstands as variants. Good to know, Server Knight Kyle. 2003. That comic's been around. So this is like that. This reprint is like 10 years after the fact, huh? So that's interesting. Didn't know that. That's really late to I guess not late. If it's a classic comic, you can reprint it whenever, but interesting to know. Thanks. Yeah, so again, Mark Bagley cover there. I don't know. This is a little speculation in terms of what could happen, but there are rumors Ghost Rider's coming to the MCU, and of course, Moon Knight's the series has been really popular, and they're coming out with season 2. So we'll wait and see what happens there. All right, so from here on out, we're kind of getting into the artist portion of the haul, and so I guess to kick us off with the artist portion, we'll start with Jim Lee. Now, this is not a big Jim Lee haul. I only got one book that's Jim Lee out of this haul. Not that we aren't trying. We're trying to pick up as many Jim Lee books that we find out in the wild as possible. It's just they don't come around all that frequently at half-price books. So oftentimes, if I'm picking up Jim Lee, I'm actively going to the comic book shops and digging for key, what I consider key Jim Lee books, and they're still fairly affordable. Yeah, they're for the large part they're affordable, but there's been movement in the market these days, and a lot of the 90s artists, like I mentioned, Bagley, Eric Larson, Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, these books are now kind of hiking up in value, and you're probably not going to see them in the dollar bins as much now. There definitely is a solid market of collectors who seek these books out. I think we have a mix of people in my generation, obviously, who grew up in the 90s, but also the newer collectors that are looking back and seeing the value in the 90s as well. And so I did a video on what makes the 90s really special. It's just sort of an innovative period where you just had a lot of books, a lot of creators, a lot of things happen in the industry that were noteworthy, and sort of, you still had contributions from people in the silver, bronze, in the twilight of their career, still putting out books and doing content. So it's an interesting sort of like it's a connection between sort of the older ages and the newer, the more modern books. And I think it definitely ushered or created what we know today as the hobby. It definitely ushered in the era of the modern comic book hobby era. So anyway, my point is, I picked up one Jim Lee book, and it's this one, beautiful cover. What's cool about this one is it's part of a connecting cover. So this is a series called the Trinity, and this is Trinity number 16 and number 17. There's also 18 with the Batman, and they all connect. So when you connect them, eventually they have this background here that kind of connects them as puzzles, but all three of them are kind of coming out of the screen at you. And so I have the Batman books actually at Half Price Books. I didn't get it. I'll probably go and pick it up because I didn't realize that Batman book was part of this connecting cover thing. So definitely want to add that and have the Trinity there. But we picked up this a while back for 50 cents. And then we added this one. This one we didn't get as cheap. We got this one half a cover for $1.50. But it was a really high grade copy. Well, it's a high grade copy, but I see one spine ticked it right now. But other than that, it's really clean. And just a beautiful Superman cover. Look at that. I mean, I've always, Jim Lee is my favorite Superman artist, followed by Neil Adams and then John Byrne. Those three guys are no one does Superman better than those three guys. And this is a book I've been meaning to pick up. Or my next book is a book I've been meaning to pick up because I just love the significance of the book. But the cover isn't all that great. And I'm not going to kind of pull the book out here, but what I did was I actually placed the back cover. And so this is also a wraparound cover. It's not a wraparound. It's got cover art on the front and back. So wraparound is when it continues. This is two separate covers, but it does kind of, two images that wrap around. But that's a Frank Miller Superman. Yeah, just one of those rare times you see Frank Miller. Now, what's great about this book is it has various artists, including a Jack Kirby. Sorry, not Jack Kirby, a Steve Ditko Superman illustration. So there's panels in here with a Steve Ditko Superman. I got to admit, it wasn't all that impressive. Maybe it's because Ditko wasn't accustomed to drawing Superman, but it definitely just felt weird. It didn't look like a classic image of Superman. But there's all kinds of great artists that produce images of Superman. John Byrne's in here. A bunch of artists. So Superman 400. Sorry, this is Superman 400. And again, Frank Miller on the back cover there. Just a great key issue. This is just this is the celebrating, I believe it was the like the 40th anniversary, or I have to look again, but it was an anniversary issue. It was the 400th anniversary, so it was the 400th issue, that they were celebrating. And there's also similar Batman 400 that came out around the time of this. But yeah, really high grade copy. This is something, if it goes up in value a little bit, definitely one I'd want to get graded just for that back, Frank Miller cover there. Yeah, and the American flag. Always love these kinds of American flag covers. I know Naman Hyung, you collect those. I think Prime also is a collector of those Superman, as am I. So just awesome that I have collectors in my network that appreciate the same things I do. And let's see. Okay, so these next books are John Byrne books. As you know, I think now that my John Byrne Fantastic Four collection has grown a little bit, I think I'm going to be a little bit more focused on picking up the John Byrne Fantastic Four run. It's just, first of all, the covers, the interior art, the writing. He did the entire. So if you're a John Byrne fan, to really focus on that run, that's his sort of, and the Superman as well. He wrote and did all the artwork for that as well. So those Superman books, his Superman run and his Fantastic Four runs are definitely ones I think I'm going to be a little bit more focused on. I am still picking up Jim Lee books, but it's kind of like I have a lot of the Jim Lee stuff I've been meaning to pick up. The stuff I need to pick up now is just sort of random books here and there, as well as a lot of the higher ratio variants. And so it's going to take some time. And again, I'm not going to probably run into much Jim Lee stuff. So if I'm going to kind of focus my areas where I want to add things to the PC, it'll be in this realm here, because these books pop up quite frequently. And again, they have the higher print runs because it was just he was such a popular book, and he's such a popular artist. We'll start here with Fantastic Four 289. Just a great cover, really decent condition too for an 80s book, 86 book. Again, newsstand edition. We always like to see that. We like to see that now. And yeah, great She-Hulk. Again, She-Hulk was a part of the Fantastic Four kind of midway through this Byrne run, and then he ended up doing a She-Hulk book later on. But I think he draws the best She-Hulk there. Nice cover. Beautiful cover. Loving John Byrne art. This next one is also John Byrne, as well as it looks like at the back here. I'm gonna have to take a look at this one. Hang on, just give me a minute here. Just trying to see who did this back cover. That's tough. I'm gonna have to research this and find out for you who did the back cover. But Byrne did this front cover, I'm pretty sure. I just want to make sure I'm not giving wrong information here. All right, so I was mistaken. So this was a Barry Windsor Smith cover. And in terms of the back cover, this is, if that's Barry Windsor Smith, that's definitely. So Barry Windsor Smith did the front cover there. That's according to the source I have. Doesn't look like Barry Windsor Smith, but that's what they're saying. And he also did the interior of this book. Now there are multiple artists on the interior of this book. So you know what? I'm thinking this is John Buscema who did this one, the cover for this one. And if anybody in the comic community can confirm, would appreciate that. So this is $2.96. Byrne is off the run, I would imagine. And again, because this is a special anniversary issue. Now, all of you know this is the Marvel anniversary frames, right? Let me just get myself up here. So, for example, I'm collecting these frames as well. This is the X Factor frame. But it's, in terms of the 25th, it says here, Marvel 25th anniversary. And it's actually not the 25th anniversary of Marvel, the 25th anniversary of the first appearance of Fantastic Four. So they're celebrating Fantastic Four, essentially. It's a Marvel celebration of the first Fantastic Four book. Wow. I'd love to see that, Silver Knight, Kyle. Wow. Work. So this is original art that you have. I would love to see that, please. But yeah, I love Byrne. And so again, this is not covered by Byrne. Should have been. Not sure. They're saying Barry Windsor Smith on that cover art. But definitely on the back here, that looks like Buscema art, John Buscema art. And so this book, this is the only one. This is only one of these Marvel frame books. I shouldn't say the only one. I think Marvel Age with the frames has both front and back. There may be more, but from the ones that I can tell, this is one of the only front and back. And again, they're celebrating the 25th anniversary of the first Fantastic Four book. So it's relevant. And so this one has multiple stories, multiple chapters done by various artists. In fact, the artists, I have them up here. You had Barry Windsor Smith, Kerry Gamble, Ron Frenz, Al Milgrom, John Buscema, Mark Silvestri, Jerry Ordway, all doing interior artwork on this. It was written by Jim Shooter and Stan Lee. And the story is written by Jim Shooter and Stan Lee. And again, just a beautiful back cover here by Buscema. And again, just another 25th anniversary frame that we've added to the list. Now, this, in terms of grade, so again, we picked this up for 75 cents. And sorry, I haven't been covering the pricing on these. So I think the last one I remember is I picked up for $1.50. Picked this one up for 37 cents. Picked this one up for 75 cents. Superman 400. And then picked this one up for 75 cents as well. So really nice pickups. Again, this one isn't in the best grade. It's not in the worst grade either, but there's sort of a slight crease there. Spine looks okay. Just sort of rounded corners, some dinge on the cover, but again, I'm not looking to pick these Marvel anniversary things in high grade. I just want to try to complete the collection. Now, this next book, it's on my want list. I've been kind of waiting to run across it. I've had opportunities to buy it at the LCS, like really high grade copies, but I kind of held off on it because Jeff at Ancient Comics had it priced at like $12. Again, it was a really high grade copy, but I just felt like let's take our chances and be patient. And I'm glad we did, because this is actually a really high grade copy. I'd say it's a solid 8.5. With the press, it could be higher. But it's John Byrne's first book, The Start on the Run, 232. Yep, John Bacena on the back cover. Thank you. Yeah, so this is his first run on the book, John Byrne. It's just a great cover there. And it's actually a key issue because it's the first appearance of the Doom elementals, like Doctor Doom, versions of Doctor Doom that are elements, I guess. I didn't really read the book, but that's why it's key. Just a classic cover. It just gives off Silver Age vibes there, with the color and the background and just the flurry of action going on. Silver Bronze Age vibes. It definitely adds some Bronze Age elements in there as well. Newsstand copy for an early 80s book. So again, this grade. This is something I think we could submit to CGC. I wouldn't mind having this in a slab, because it's newsstand, and again, the grade is really, yeah. Again, with the press, I think this could come back in the 9s. Definitely a solid 8.5 in terms of condition. Picked it up for 25 cents. Picked it up for. I'm just very happy with that one. All right, so up to now, we haven't really had like a Kaplow, Batman type POW, type book, sort of in your face, amazing, fine kind of book. And it's young. It's just a quarter. Come on, it's just a quarter for a beautiful John Byrne, late bronze, I guess, early copper book. So up to now, we haven't had really sort of the jaw dropping, oh wow, that's a great find kind of books. But I think from here on out, these would qualify as such. So what are they? We're going to start with, what should we do first here? Yeah, we're going to start with this book. This is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Now, this is not a book I normally collect or would buy. But this one had a signature on there, and this is actually signed by, it's signed by the writer, Kyle Higgins. So I thought that's cool. And then this is also a variant cover. It's one of the, it's a David Finch. And I love David Finch art, but it's a David Finch variant cover on a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 25. I'm sure you do. Kapow books. I'm looking forward to seeing those Kapow books. So yeah, just a signed copy. Again, this is without the signature. It books around $25. But with the signature, I imagine there's a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers fan out there that would love this. And again, I didn't get into Mighty Morphin Power Rangers because it came out when I was in like high school, college, and it was really targeted for like younger kids. But so all the sort of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers action sequences with the monsters and the robots, those are actually all shot and filmed in Japan. And then they had the American live actors come on and do the sort of the live or the non-costume stuff. So for me, it never really caught my interest. But the earlier stuff that in that style with Ultraman and some of the kaiju, the monster stuff, those were entertaining, and I did appreciate that. So I could see the entertainment value and why kids would get hooked on it, because it's a lot of martial art action, it's a lot of cool robots that come out. So I get it. I get why it has a huge fan base. So if you are interested in this book, again, David Finch cover, signed copy, Kyle Higgins, Power Rangers, hit me up with an offer, with a Jim Lee offer. The decent Jim Lee offer, and this book can be yours. So that's that. All right. Now, the next two books are more Neal Adams pickups. And I'm actually, my half price books will have Neal Adams books, and I'm actually kind of like trying to pick them up, as long as they're in decent, whether they're low. Actually, I picked up a lot of low grade books. I shouldn't say grade matters. For me, as long as they're around, $5, I'm trying to pick them up. Even if they're a little over, I don't mind, as long as they're the grade and the value of the book justifies it. I wouldn't mind paying more. But yeah, again, it's one of those things that I think the kids are into, the Power Ranger stuff. But and this is a book I think, Namanhyun, you also have showed off on your show as well. Well, let me start with this one first. Yeah. This book here is World's Finest, number 245. Now he does Neal Adams is a three issue cover run where he does 245, 244, 245, and 246. And 244 is a beautiful cover by Neal of Superman and Batman. And that's one I think we want to target and pick up eventually. I'm not like in a rush to get it, but it's on my radar now. And so we know what it looks like when we come across it. But this one is, again, just a beautiful cover. It's $1 cover price. So these were the 80 pages of stories and different things. And what's cool about World's Finest is there's Kurt Swan art in here, Neal Adams cover, Jerry Conway story. So this issue is packed with, and Denny O'Neil is the editor. So this issue is packed full of heavyweights in terms of the creatives, and love it. Just a beautiful cover. Pick this up for $5, and the grade is really decent. Again, with the press, this could come back in the 8s, I would say. There's just sort of a crunch there, but not color breaking. And again, with a good press, this would present really beautifully. There's a little bit of like wear on the corner there, so maybe not an 8, maybe closer to 7.5. This is probably like a 7.0, 7.5 copy, but decent. The grade's really decent for in terms of the age of this book. And again, this book was a book from 1977. And again, yeah, you got Wonder Woman, Black Canary, Green Green Arrow on the cover with Batman, Superman, Martian Hunter, and looks like a bunch of Martians there as well. So cool, Neil Adams Bronze Age book. And this is the one, Namanhyang, I think that you have. So it's a book. When I look at it, it's exactly what I love to collect. And that's Superman 242. This is a cover with Superman fighting himself. And beautiful Neil Adams cover here. And the cool thing about this one as well, it's got several stories in it. And, you know, it was just mentioned, again, so Neil Adams did the cover. Kurt Swan did interior art, as well as Carmine Infantino. Carmine Infantino does interiors on this book as well. Denny O'Neil story, as well as Bill Finger did a story on this, the original writer for Batman as well. So another book with a lot of big heavyweights. So it's a very significant book. Now the condition, what did we pay for this? We paid $5. So both Neil Adams books cost me $5 a pop. This one's the higher valued one. This one's the better graded one in terms of the grade. This is better. This one does have an issue. It's got water damage on this part of the book and the back portion of the book. It also has a small tear. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. It's barely visible, but you can see just a small tear right there. That's a tear right there. The staples are still intact. The book is still intact. It's just way off centered. The spine roll there and everything, it's just way off centered. And again, I think the biggest issue there is a tear. No real big creases, just the tear. And again, the water damage. But the water damage on this particular cover, because there's like fire and the sort of a yellowish cover, you know, if it were white, it would show up more. But because it's already a yellowish water stain color cover, the water stain kind of naturally blends in there. So you can't really see. You can kind of see hints of it. Can you see that right there? You can kind of see hints of it right there, that line there. But it's not terribly visible is I guess my point. And boom. So we picked up quite a few Neil Adams books in the past few hauls. And so I'll probably go over my Neil Adams books at some point. It's gotten to the point, I mean, we've got a few books, Neil Adams books, currently being graded. So I don't know but those books are going to be back till, next year, probably spring. Well, the Neil Adams books are going to be back winter of next year. So we're talking about like December 2023. So we'll cover another Neil Adams at that, Neil Adams. I'll cover the books in the collection at that time as well. But I'll probably do one in the next couple of weeks, showing off what we picked up so far. And this last one is a special one, partly because it's, this is a creator who whom we lost this year. And they're just two of my favorites in terms of like Batman creators. And first of all, the book is Batman Madness, and this is just a one-shot book. It actually precedes Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale's work on The Long Halloween. This was published in 1994. Yeah, it was published in November 1994. I'd place the grade at around an 8.0, 8.5. It's a cardstock cover. It does have so on these like cardstock covers, you want to look at the binding, and if you see a line, someone kind of opened up and cracked the spine there. So would have been nice to not have that line there, but other than that, it's still pretty solid in terms of. Thanks, Kyle. But what makes this one especially noteworthy is this was signed as a promotional signing event. So I'm going to assume they were at a comic shop, as they tended to do back in the day when a book came out. So they're probably at a comic book shop promoting this book when it came out, doing the signing event together. And it's a signed copy. You even have the date here. So this was a November cover date, 1994. It's October 16th, 1994, that Jeff Loeb signed the book. Tim Sale signed it as well. So I'm assuming because the ink is similar, they were sitting there together signing the book. And we lost Tim Sale this year. He was still quite young. He had some health conditions, and again, he was taken too early. And of course, we're celebrating, his works. Unfortunately, I don't have many of his books, but this one is nice to pick up. And so, yeah, double signature book. It's tough to place a dollar value on these books. But for a dual signature, this is a pricey book. Again, this is one for the collection. It's not going anywhere. In fact, there are probably more copies of this out there because, again, they, you look at The Long Halloween, they kind of did the same thing when The Long Halloween came out. They were together signing books at events as well. And so these are just, it's a piece of comic book history to have them sign the book right when it, as it launched at a fan signing event. So I don't have the backstory on this. I just found it again at Half Price Books. I was able to pick it up for half a cover, which is what is it? Batman Madness here. I'm looking at my list. Picked it up for $2.50. Yeah, picked this one up for $2.50. Just a beautiful copy, signed copy. And that does it for the list. So again, thanks for hopping on and tuning in, guys. Silver Knight Kyle. Looking forward to your videos, sir. Namanhyang. As always, great to have you. I'm curious to know what you picked up there at Half Price Books. Give it another go. We end with the Book of the Hall. This is the Book of the Hall. There's the Book of the Hall, and been picking up signed copies here and there. So the signatures are growing as well. So always appreciate a good signed book by the creators of the book. And that does it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again in the next one.